Hey, Tilde, are you there?
Can you hear me?
Hi, Val. Okay, we're getting started here. I thought I'm gonna take a minute to make sure that I've got the settings on this right. Um, okay, I just want to see if I can edit this meeting while it's going on to make sure. It's supposed to allow you all to come in without, yeah, allow you to join any time. Okay, well, we'll see. Hi, everybody.
Hello, Mark.
Okay, this is basically going to be an ongoing recording from now till 5 at least, or a live stream. And uh, I think I'll be trying to keep an eye on who's adding. I thought I set it up so you guys could just come in without being admitted, but apparently I didn't do that. So we're getting going now. Kat has joined us. So we have, I'll just, here she comes. There she is. She has to bend her knees a little
Hi,
bit.
Kat.
Oh, there she is. So we've got our setup here, and I'll kind of talk a little bit about it. And so what we're up to, we have 55 bowls to fire today. And here are about 20 of them here. And so the firing that we're doing, with one exception, is all with the Black Raku surface that I've developed over the years. Very traditional, the kind of Raku firing that was going on 450 years ago. So just kind of exciting in some ways. I thought I'd take a moment to acknowledge that this is a very modified experience. Tilde, Val, I don't know if you've taken a wood fire class, I mean a Raku class with me before or not. I know Tilde has taken a few. Um, and so traditionally, we teach a class so that you are learning how to Raku fire, and by the end of the class, you can load up and light and fire a kiln with no assistance from instructors or assistants, that you can do it on your own. But we're in the times of COVID, and near as I can tell, that is only getting more prevalent right now. So it's a time to take precautions. So this is the alternative, which is kind of, it's nice to have this. I want to acknowledge Kat, whose idea this was, to live stream. And I think it's a great idea. So what I'm going to do is just talk my way through the process. And I'm going to just take this little bit here, just turn it a minute. So here's kind of the end result here, which you see over here. There's a little setting there. And we can have a little tea later on. Once we get some bowls out, we can serve some tea. So this will be going on for a while today. And I don't know what your plans are, but I imagine you'll come in and out, or maybe I'll be background, or punishment for kids if they're misbehaving. You have to watch this for a while. But here we are, and so we're there's so much about this that is traditional, and so much about this that is not traditional. I'll just kind of break it down a little bit. There are some safety concerns. We want to have good gloves. The face shield is really just to deflect heat, and as you can see by its shape, it starts to melt if you get too close. And then you need some tongs, and that's pretty much all you need to work with this. If you look at the setup here, we have 2 layers of bowls. We have 2 cones here, which is not always the case. I'm going to fire to about cone 04, a little hotter than cone 06. Get a good melt on the blaze all the way through. And so I have the observable cones. I have a 06 to let me know it's getting close, and an 04 to let me know when it's ready. So that's our plan.
Can I add one other safety thing?
Sure.
Non-flammable clothing.
Right. Just getting there. You'll notice that both Kat and I, in our tremendous sense of style, have cotton fibers completely. I'm wearing things that will not add to the fuel load. So synthetic fibers like polyester, and what's that plushy campy stuff?
The
When you buy those jackets,
no puffer coats.
no,
that was
no
always
puffer
the,
coats, no any polymers, any synthetic fibers are out of the question. So that's just a really great safety procedure that we have here. And we'll talk about the setup a little bit more here. So we have these pieces that have a glaze, which is, the glaze is a mixture of things. It's a fairly glossy black glaze that I designed a while ago called Ruddy, I think it's called Ruddy Raku Black. And then I made I took hikidashi, which is half, it's half iron oxide and half wood ash, and by volume, and you mix that up. And then I took half of Ruddy, follow me here on this, half of Ruddy Reduction Black, this is how I developed this glaze, and half of the hikidashi to develop a more glaze that goes between gloss and matte, which is ideal. And so it's half and half of those two mixed up. And what I like about that is the iron oxide and the wood ash are very traditional materials for ancient Raku glaze surfaces, though the iron was given by finding very iron-rich rock and crushing it to make glaze. So we don't have to do that work here. So that's what we have. We have these bowls. And then the question is, how much do we reduce? In traditional Japan, they would not reduce. And you saw that, we saw an enactment of a traditional Raku firing on video in the class. And what, I'm just gonna check here, see if anybody, nope, we're good. We had, you saw that kind of, that they take the bowl out and then they leave it out to cool. And rather than do that, you can see that the bottom of the bowl is not glazed. So what I want to do is get that bottom kind of smoky black. And so what I'm going to do is create a reduction oxidation environment. So we're going to take the bowls out and we'll put them down here on these post-firing reduction beds. And what I have is I have sawdust with newspaper. There's some method to my madness here. When we take them out and put them on this, the newspaper's primary function is going to catch on fire instantly, but its main advantage is it prevents the bowls from getting too speckly from the sawdust. It'll keep the sawdust from texturing the bottom of the bowl, which isn't always bad, but I thought I would make it a little bit more neutral. So that's what the newspaper's doing, and then the sawdust is providing quite a bit more fuel to keep the reduction going. So the mere fact that the bowl is sitting on all of this keeps the bottom reducing. It should give you a nice black surface in the exposed clay. And then on the top, this glaze is pretty black. It might go to some brown maroons. And so we should get a range of effects across from the bottom to the top of the piece, which is what I'm thinking about and hoping that will do nicely for us. So that's where we're going with this firing. So you guys have any questions so far, or comments, or things you can add from experience?
Not me. I don't know about Valerie. Is she? I don't know if she's done Raku before. I think she has.
Okay. Well, so I think what we'll do now is we'll light the kiln, we'll get the firing going, and the way it'll proceed is we'll spend about 15 minutes at low temperature. We'll spend 15 minutes at medium temperature, and then it'll probably fire for about 20 minutes at high temperature before it's done. Once we open it up, we'll start moving the bowls into reduction, and then we'll start loading the next bowls in, and that's the plan here. So, I think when I get going here, I'll put a mask on so Kat and I can work more comfortably together as we do this. And I look really good in the mask, which is kind of scary because I think it means that the more covered up, the better. So here's where we're going with all this. So I'm going to start lighting this now. So let's get that going. Let's see, where did-
It's in your cargo pocket. Are you looking for
I'm,
the?
I'm looking for a mask as well.
Oh,
I
okay.
think I just need to go on the other side. Okay. You can say anything you want. Go say hello.
Hi. I hope everyone's doing well. We're gonna. Oh, I'm gonna let Luna in.
All right.
Hello.
Luna's here.
Hi, Muna.
Hi.
So we're just getting ready to add a light. We'll put this over in the tea area. So what I would like to do is
Okay.
why don't you hold that one and put that. And the idea is I'm going to add a little gas and then we're going to light that. So I'll let you when you're ready. That should be enough.
Yeah. I didn't get my eyebrows or anything.
That's a good sign.
Definitely need one of these turning ones. These,
Uh,
the adjustable.
oh, right. That does make it nicer. Okay, you ready for the next one?
Yep.
Here we go. So to start with, we're looking for a very luffing flame, a slow, soft, fluttery flame. And that's just going to preheat everything. That's just going to give everything a little bit of a slow warming. And then if I bring this down, if you make sure that the eye holes line up with the,
Can I just spin it first
yeah,
and then keep it that way?
sure.
Hi, Mona. How you doing?
Good. How are you?
This is so weird.
Oh,
Uh-huh. It's a weird world right now.
yeah, but oh, be careful. We might just take it back up and put the cones right on the shelf, and then
Let
we
me
can
see
see.
what you can see the brick.
We can see the brick, but not the cones.
Oh, that's lovely.
And we're
Yeah,
not
that
really
would be
going to
right.
be able to.
Yeah, what we might do is put them on the brick on the bottom shelf.
Okay.
All right.
Just do it halfway up.
Just to keep you updated with the excitement, we've set it up and we can't see the cone, so we have to shuffle everything around.
I'm gonna get a glove.
Can we go up more?
You want me to grab a littler one?
No, I think we're fine.
Okay.
Because we're, you know, we've got 55 bowls and 3 firings. There's 20 bowls in here now.
Okay. We might make them a little higher in the next firing.
Is it hard to see them?
I don't think so, but
Why don't you see?
I think it's easier to see than it was.
Oh yeah, we can see that
Yeah.
clearly.
Okay.
If you could find us another plug there, that would be
Yeah.
great.
Yeah.
Okay, so pretty exciting, huh? Pretty thrilling. So, folks, let me hang on a second. In my head,
I
I'm
better see
thinking,
some dancing and singing.
what's that?
I say I better see some dancing and some singing for the next 2 hours.
Well, yeah, it's going to have to get better. I forgot my guitar. One of the things that I'm have in my head is that this might look eventually a lot like what it's like if the Three Stooges do Raku. I'm hoping not, but perhaps. So we have this lit. The next thing to think about, we have 55 bowls. And so we're going to do 3 firings. There's 20 bowls in there now. And in order to do the 3 firings, we need to preheat the next bowls. We don't want to, because when we take them out, the kiln is going to be about 1900 degrees. We're going to open it up, take the others out. So by the time we start loading again, it'll be about 1000 degrees. So 2 things. One is we can't put the bowls directly on the shelves because the heat difference from being in the weather right now, which is about 55 degrees, and we take them and we put them on a shelf that's 1000 degrees, just the differential would cause them to crack. So what we do is we put a little clay disc or a little piece of broken shelf underneath to help them insulate a little bit until they all get to the right temperature. So that's one thing we'll do. The other thing is we don't want to put them at room temperature. We want to have them a little preheated. There's a couple of different ways to do that. I've done both of these. One is you get an electric kiln kind of warm and you put them in there and then you move them from the electric kiln in here. Another way to do it is what we're going to do today, which is cover the top with the next load of bowls. So that's where we're going with this. That's what we'll do next. So keeping you involved with this and kind of keep going, telling you about it. And I don't know if we're going to do any real dancing. We could talk politics, but perhaps that's not a good solution either.
I was
We'll
just
see.
gonna say we could put them in the gas kiln and turn on pilots so that we don't have to move them off the top.
That would be nice. Let's do that. Okay, did you? I don't know if you heard that.
That's a good idea, yeah.
Yeah, it's a good idea. So Kat's suggestion is we preheat the gas kiln a little bit and put them in there. So that actually,
Oh, we can do this one so we're not in it into the wrong kiln.
all right, that's a good idea. So you guys keep an eye on that, make sure everything's going well there. And also remind me to set a timer.
I do not have my phone on.
I got it. Siri, set timer. Siri won't listen to me with a mask on. Hey Siri, set timer for 1:35.
Okay, I've set your timer alarm for 13:35.
Oh, wow.
Okay. Wow. Okay. Okay. So here, I'll give you a little view, I think. Let's see if I can take you portable here. Whoop, you're going, wait a minute. Let's go for a walk. Not too big a walk. Whoa, things are getting wild here. Okay, so what you can see over here is there's Kat in a very stylish mask. And she is putting the next load of bowls into the gas kiln. which is nice because then we only have to move them that once. They go in here, they get preheated, and then we move them from there directly into the kiln when we're ready. So we'll go from there over to there. That's our plan. All right, so that's happening. I'm gonna hook you guys back up here. So, and then, so we can kind of time this out at about 350 will go on high. So I'm sorry, not 350, 150 will be on high with this firing. So the firing will then finish up about 10 after 2. And then we'll load the next firing and light it. And then my plan is to use one of the bowls from this firing to serve tea. So around 2:20, we might have a bowl of tea together. So you can stick around or you can wander off and come back. But that's kind of the plan here. We're going to get these fired, and then tomorrow is drop off for the face jugs and the picking up of your Raku bowls. And if you gave me a Raku bowl or something in that group, it got glazed and it's in this situation. Some of you have 1, some of you have 5. They're all in here. So that's the plan.
So Mark, when you're gonna fire the face jugs though?
Okay, the face jugs, Kat and I have been working on some glazes that are kind of reminiscent of the traditional surfaces of the face jug. So it's kind of a fake wood ash glaze.
Oh, cool.
And we're going to apply that to the face jugs and fire it to cone 6. So that's the plan for the face jugs. So again, it's COVID planning. So all of this ideally is an experience you would have glazing things, but it was part of my designing the class that I would choose types of ceramics and types of resolutions where the result was going to be the same whether you did it or I did it. So like all black tea bowls, pit firing the African pots. The membranes were clear glazed. Look at these. I don't know if I'm. So
Wow.
this is by Emma, and I just love the imagery.
It is. Wow.
Very personal, very kind of. It looks almost like a tarot card. So these came in a little bit later. I did one extra firing.
Oh, nice.
This is a student who's, had some issues. You can see, had some issues technically. But kind of the nice thing about the whole doing a prehistoric kind of membrane pot is a lot of the pots you see are cracked or broken. So this kind of feels authentic in that way. But when he came in, he said each one of these X's represents a family member who was murdered before he moved here to California. So it's quite a cultural kind of shock that this piece represents. Quite a powerful presentation. So,
oh no, yeah.
this
Wow.
is another one of Emma's.
Good, nice painting. Yeah.
Do a kind of group tea ceremony out of that one. All right. So those will be available for pickup tomorrow, along with we have also the Raku bowls will be ready, and you'll be dropping off your face jugs.
So
It's
again,
from-
Mark, the face jug again. It's not gonna be bisque. It's gonna be just go to cone 6.
No, the face jug is going to be bisqued first, and
Okay.
then
So-
cone 6 fired.
Okay. So when you gonna bisque it? Because I think one of them is not dry. Mine too. Still.
Right. So ideally this Thursday, but the ones that are not ready, you might do a later.
Yeah, I'm gonna try and do. I gotta look at the calendar.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
So we're going to try to get 2 of those in because we I don't know when you're thinking about doing the actual glaze fire.
Why don't I get my calendar?
Yeah, Kat's going to go get her calendar and let you know how
Awesome.
that's going to go.
Thank you.
So there's that. Let's see. And meanwhile, we're firing away here. I'm going to bring over, as long as we were talking about dancing and such, I'm going to bring over my, you can see as I talked about, I have a little tea setup over here. And this is in no way to be confused with a traditional tea setting, right? This is, I mean, there's nothing wrong. I love the fact that I'm using that log that we have used in so many wood fires. But I mean, I'm not proposing to present a traditional tea ceremony. What I'm really,
Okay. I have,
hang on a second,
oh, sorry.
update on timing.
Okay, so I have another, it would have to be here by the 2nd of December. Dry, ideally, so that it can get into a bisque firing on the 3rd.
Oh, awesome.
Okay, so the drop dead date is
Bone
getting
dry.
it here by the 2nd of December. And of course, part of that is figuring out how we get it here, because somebody would have to be here to receive it, right?
Well, I have a day on the 2nd.
Oh, you have a day on the
I
2nd?
have a half day,
Okay, what time is that half day?
1 to 5.
1 to 5. Okay, so I'm going to send that out to, I did have another student asking about that. So, so if you have wet one, if you can bring them now, you can bring them and they can dry here so that we know they're here.
But they're
and
probably going to get fired electric.
they're going to get fired electric.
Yeah.
On
I
the,
don't
on
have
the
enough.
2nd.
Yeah, I don't have enough time to do another cone 6 gas, because the cone 6 gas is happening on the 3rd.
Oh, okay. So you're going to
So-
do, so for those ones that you're going to bisque on the 3rd,
Yeah.
then you'll do a cone 6 electric, which should be fine for display because our tests were electric
Yeah.
and they look great.
Yeah.
So, okay, so that's our planning so far. Everybody on the page with that?
Yeah. So it's my big jug, the 25 inches one. The one is not dry yet.
Yeah, you're not alone. I think Robin sent me a note saying, this one's a little bigger. I ran out of clay. So there are going to be some big ones in there. I did demonstrate a large one, and I think that's part of the joy of getting immersed in a new tradition is that, you know, trying to find ways to make it your own and to play with it. So
Yeah.
getting big. And this particular, it's really, they're very exciting images to play with.
Great project. I love it.
I've been working out books. I'm teaching this class again next semester, and our book is Letters to a Young Poet, which I guess you're all starting to read. Muna's favorite book.
Uh-huh.
But I've got 2 books for next semester, and I've figured that I want to get them a little closer to the subject matter at hand. The problem when I was really rushing around planning this class this time, the problem I had is there are 4 separate subjects, and it was difficult to find a book that would cover that. And so I went with a general, beautiful book on the philosophy of being an artist. But this next semester, I'm going to focus on 2 of the traditions. There's a book called Zen in the Art of Tea Ceremony, which I'm ordering. And then there's a book that is called Carolina Clay. And it's about the life and times of the slave potter Dave, who was one of the face jug makers. So should be an interesting read and a kind of a deep dive into those 2 traditions. Because one of the frustrations is how little information there is about these slave potters that made the original face jugs. So that's happening. I'm going to show you, any comments, questions, thoughts?
I have a question.
Yeah.
For the membranes grade, did you forget to grade the 200 points? Because I haven't seen anything on mine.
I may have missed yours. I thought I graded them, but I will get back and take another look. I have to go back over all of that So I will take a look. You should have gotten a video. Muna, did you get a video about your membranes from me?
The membrane, no.
No?
Mm-mm.
Okay, maybe
Hey,
I
Mark, I didn't get one either.
Okay, so Tilde, I think the answer is I'm getting to it. I'm smiling now. It's really
Okay,
hard to tell.
I hold you to it.
Okay, thank you, Tilde. Yeah, there's been some really exciting moments. Like I'll get a memo from Jason saying, I don't know if you know this, but there's no way to submit the face jug assignment. So I'm being kept sort of on track by my students in this new experience. Okay, I'm going to stroll over there and show you a few things.
Want me to just turn this?
I wonder how close we can get it. Let's see how close we can get it.
Okay.
We're going to take you for another little traveling experience here.
Oh,
If suddenly we all go down, call 911. Okay, I think that's about it, unless we could unplug it, actually. There's no reason not to unplug it.
yeah.
We can get a little closer. Hello. Okay, here we go. Little noise. No, let's see. There we go. Okay, let's see how close that is. That should be all we need. Yeah. So I'm just going to take you into this.
Actually, we should be able to swap it around.
I'll just spin it.
Yeah.
There we go. Good. Can you guys hear me okay?
Yep.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So what I'm going to do here is just show you, you're not, well, I can actually stand up, I think, this will work out. Okay, that sound is actually my alarm. So while we're here, I'm just going to take you over and show you what we do here. Some of you, again, have done this before. Let's see, there it is. So the alarm means time to go from low to medium. Alexa, hey Siri, set timer for 2:50. So now what I'm doing is I'm listening. So that's a medium sound there. And then at 250, I will bump the flame all the way to the top. So that's going well. So what I want to do now is, while we're waiting here, is talk to you. This is what I call boxer's tea. And boxer's tea is an observation that when I serve tea, it's like watching a boxer dance ballet. So basically, the idea is to serve tea, to drink tea, to enjoy tea, and not to, and just to do it with as much attention to the present moment as possible. And the thing about tea, the thing about tea is that it's really a ceremony which encourages you to focus in the moment on what's happening around you, and to particularly focus on what is good in your life, the relationships you have with dear people who hopefully you've invited to tea. In this case, Kat will join me, and I'll mix her a bowl of tea. And then, so that's one of the things about tea. And the other is that you talk about ideas that are important, ideas that are enriching and soul fulfilling, maybe philosophy, maybe aesthetics, maybe art. And a lot of that talk is centered on the actual pieces. So a lot of times the role of the tea bowls that you've made, the role of the tea bowl is to remind you of all that is beautiful in the world. The tea bowl plays a very powerful role in this ceremony. It's sort of the touchstone that helps you contemplate all the beauty that you know exists in the world. So it's got a big role to play, and that's one of the reasons that the Japanese culture has so focused and written so much and cared so much about what a tea bowl is, what it looks like, how it's made. So it has a pivotal role to play, as do all the ceramics. There's a lot missing here. I'm going to boil water and just come pour it into this bowl. So let's just talk. One of the pleasures you can have when you're making tea like this way is you can kind of choose pottery that has meaning to you, and it might be related to the moment in history. It might be related to the season. It might be related to a specific event. So there's all kinds of different kinds of ways of choosing and using your tea utensils. So I'll start with this. This is called a chaire, and I'm going to bring it up to you so you can see it here. And inside is the powdered green tea, without which it wouldn't be much of a tea ceremony. Can you see that? Can you guys see the green? It's really pretty.
Too close.
Yeah,
there you go.
Kind of see it. Oh, there we go. There it is. So this I don't know if any of you ever met a student who used to come here named Melvin, but Melvin Sundek, he came. I met him originally when I used to be doing workshops with a Japanese artist named Kusakabe, and he came to one of our workshops, and he explained that he had been making tea bowls, and he had been a student at that time. That was years ago. He had studied tea ceremony for 17 years, and so as he studied more about tea ceremony, he felt that his tea bowls were less and less appropriate for the tea ceremony. So he stopped making tea bowls. And what we told him is that we thought that he should make tea bowls. And so he came and started taking classes from me and making tea bowls. And then he really got into these chaire, these little tea caddies that hold the tea for the tea ceremony. And these are a really important form. You can see them, many of them have become national treasures, both for their beauty and for their historical significance. There was actually a war fought between two Japanese lords over possession of one of these. Not exactly a tea sentiment, but, and please forgive, this is just a plastic top to keep dust out of it for now. This bowl is kind of fun. This is by a favorite artist of mine. This is a man named Robert Brady. Some of you have met him. I'll bring this up closer. And you can see Robert has a very freewheeling sense of asymmetry here. I'm going to just kind of show you. This is the bowl.
Oh, beautiful.
The bottom.
So Mark, how do they store the tea though?
What's that?
How do you usually store the tea?
Store?
Yeah, store the tea powder.
How do I store all these pots?
No, the tea, the powder. How do they store it? Like in Japan, how do they keep it from, like, you know what I mean? Like we put it in a jar. How do they do it?
Well, when it comes in a vacuum-packed can nowadays, and it's inside a cellophane, a sealed cellophane package with a little, one of those little dry silicone packs, and it's in a vacuum sealed can, so it's very fresh until you open it, and then you can prolong its life by refrigerating it.
No, I'm not saying us. I'm saying there in Japan. How do they?
Oh,
when they use it for the tea ceremony, how do they store it? Like,
okay, I'm almost there on understanding the question. How are you asking? How do they store it between tea ceremonies?
yeah.
They produce a lot of tea. There's so many people that serve tea in Japan in this fashion And so they produce a great deal of it. You can spend as much as, you can spend pretty much anything you want on a small amount. That amount of tea is one canister that I bought. And actually this one I didn't buy. It's actually got a nice significance to it. A dear friend of mine who I've talked about before, who's a painter, went to Japan and he asked me for some advice on his trip. And when he came back, he brought me this tea. And so I've been saving it for an occasion, and this is that occasion. So, but they produce it and they put it in these containers, and these containers hold its freshness for a long time. But tea masters will buy the freshest tea. They'll buy the tea, which this tea is harvested green leaves and then it's milled to a powder. It's not dried, or what is it called? Fermented is what black tea is. Black tea is the same tea leaf, just fermented. And this is just green tea from the plant, ground with stone mills. And a Japanese tea person will pride themselves in using as fresh a tea as possible. And they cultivate relationships with tea growers and tea suppliers. So it's quite a it's almost like gets to be a who you know game in terms of how you get your tea. So this piece, oh wait, I'm going to go back. You know, it's funny, I'm standing in front of the computer talking to you, but you can't see me because the camera's over here. So I was saying this is made by Bob Brady, and I got this bowl when Bob and I were visiting artists in Japan. We were both the first two invited artists to open up their Shigaraki Toge no Mori, which is an amazing ceramic art center. And for various serendipitous reasons, Bob was invited because he was world renowned and famous, and I was invited for a lot of serendipitous reasons. Like I was in Japan, I'd been writing them for 2 years, and then I just showed up with my portfolio at a certain time when they were wondering who should be our other first artist. And it was just a wonderful bit of timing. So I worked there for 7 weeks as an artist, and I shared a studio with Bob for about 10 days of that. And this is one of the pieces he made that he gave to me at that time. So it's just a beautiful little bowl with a very simple drawing in it. And also he would collect broken shards of pottery that he found around the grounds. Lots of potteries with broken shards around. He would just put them in the clay. So that's what that is. So that's going to be used to hold hot water while I make the tea. So we have that. This little dusty piece here, I should really wash my stuff. So this piece here, this is just super fun. And I don't know how you guys feel, but I'm thinking we need a lot more fun. We need joy, we need a great spirit, we need to remember all that we are capable of and all that we are, both as people and as artists. I'm speaking more personally for myself. There are some days when I forget all that I'm capable of, and this little happy bird guy, I think, helps me remember that. So, and he'll be used to put a little piece of apple. You usually eat something sweet, like a little candy or something, before you drink the tea. So that's what his use is. This is a traditional Japanese form here. And I just brought this out to maybe use as a rest for the scoop after I've used it. And I don't know if I'll need it or not, but this form is called a ba johai. And it's as old as the tea ceremony, just about. It was a form specifically made for samurai to drink sake while they were on horseback. So ba is horse, jo is riding upon, and hai means cup. So ba johai, a cup for drinking sake while on horseback. So the samurai would tie a leather thong around the middle here and have it hanging within his robe. And when the sake opportunity showed up, he was ready. I just think it's amazing that there is a form with that kind of history and tradition behind it that we get to try and make and have fun with. So that's what that is. And my original thinking for this was that maybe it would be a place to rest. This is a bamboo scoop for water.
You know, Mark, can I add something? Say something?
Yeah.
No, it's not adding. That form, you know, that form is beautiful, right? The one you showed us. The resting piece.
Oh yeah, the Bajo
Yeah.
Hut.
Yeah, it looks like, you know how in the Middle East they drink a lot of hookah. It's the top of the hookah. It's that shape with holes in the middle, and it's like it's an empty cylinder.
Okay, so
They make it out of ceramic too. It's ceramic piece.
and what is it? What is it used for?
It's like the hookah that where they put like the tobacco up there.
It's the hookah.
Top. So they put the
Oh,
tobacco
right.
there.
That's where the tobacco goes.
Yeah. And it has
that is-
holes and open cylinder, and just, you know, that's what reminded me of. I'm sorry.
Okay, well, I would love to see a picture of that if you can send it to me.
Sure.
That would be great. Yeah, I think it's fantastic when we have, and that's probably a pretty old tradition too. Robin joined us. I think you can see.
Hi,
So
Robin.
fill her in. And Robin, I'm going to get us set back up for watching the wood fire. What I just did is describe, we're going to have tea a little later on. So I described those pieces that are at the table there for tea ceremony. And then that's a computer. Wait a minute. That's a kiln somewhere around here. I lost the Raku kiln. There it is. It's behind there. So we're going to go set this back up where it was, plug it back in again. Okay. Follow me.
We leave the camera here. I think we can get to the tea easier.
Good plan. Okay. So let's see. Let's get that. Okay, so I'm going to tell you where we're at here. So I'm demonstrating how to wear a mask on your chin. That's a thing. So we have our kiln now. And you can see we've been firing now for approximately
45 minutes.
What time did I set the alarm for? I think I did a mistake. I think it's time to bump it up.
Okay.
Because I set it for 2:50 and it's 1:50. Okay, so go ahead and put it. Now we're now bumping the kiln from medium to full. So we were we started out at a very low rate, and now we're going on to
You
full.
want all the way?
Yeah, go ahead and bring it all the way. So now we're at full capacity with the flame, and usually from this moment, within 10 minutes we'll be at temperature. And the temperature we're firing to today is 04, rather than a traditional 06. Let me see here. Hey Siri, set timer for 2 p.m.
Your timer alarm is set for 1400 hours.
Okay, so that'll ring and that'll tell me to make sure to look at these cones. So that's what's going on now. We have 20 bowls in there. We have a total of 55 bowls to fire. You can see there's some on that. Whoops, where'd I go? I went too far. There's some on that cart back there. And then we have some in the next bowls to be fired are located in the gas kiln. So we filled the gas kiln, we've not filled it, but we put some bowls to be fired in the gas kiln, which will get them heated up to make the transition to the hot kiln for the second firing a lot easier. This will also mean that the second firing will go faster than the first firing. And given the amount of bowls that we've been able to put into the kiln, what it shows us is that we are able to, we're going to complete this in 3 firings. I was concerned that we wouldn't be able to, that it was going to take 5 firings, which is quite a long day, but it looks like it's going to be 3 firings. Any questions, comments, good jokes?
Do we have any casualties on the pieces?
Do we have any what?
Casualties, anything they broke
There
or
are
cracked?
no casualties in terms of like, it's early because we haven't taken anything out of the kiln yet. We have no casualties on the pieces so far, with the exception of there are some pieces that were cracked when they came in green, and they're still cracked. I have glazed them with the hope that maybe the glaze will fill the cracks. But everything that came in, cracked or not, is being fired. It's COVID time. We're taking on a different kind. I might be a little harder if we were in regular days, but
Yeah.
so,
So are we just putting them on the newspaper and not covering them?
right.
Okay.
That's a good question. We're just going to put them on the newspaper sawdust bed and not cover them. And I think early on I may throw some newspaper on top, though that gets a little messy as the flaming newspaper starts floating off into the space.
Yeah,
So
that's not always that fun.
it's not that fun. It's certainly not a real danger here or at this time, since it's rained and we're surrounded by concrete, but we'll see. I think I'll know more as I perceive it happening. Any other questions or comments? So as Kat looks in the kiln, initially early on, you see the glow of color is increasing, but what you're looking for is a red glow that comes from the piece. It's not flame moving around the piece, but it's actually the piece itself turning a red color from the heat. And that won't happen until the pieces reach 1200 degrees minimum. So we can see that as a kind of guide. We're going for 1900 degrees. And Raku is fast. In America, this style of firing is much faster than in what you saw in the video that I showed you in Japan. Is when they recreated that Raku firing, you can see like 5 people working around the kiln, and a firing may take as much as 3-4 hours to get one bowl. They fire one bowl at a time. So a different setup. Other questions, comments, fashion suggestions?
I've seen this technique where they take the piece out of the kiln and they put a leaf on top of it and pour water to it, leaving an imprint of the leaf. Have you seen that?
Is that a Raku firing technique?
Yes.
I have not seen it done that way. There is a leaf technique where they'll put a leaf in, right, in a sagar, or they'll put it on a temaku glaze, and the leaf ash will leave a leaf pattern, but that's a very high fired technique. And that's done in the kiln. No, I haven't seen that one. I've seen horsehair, feathers. I wonder if that would be on bare clay or dry slip surfaces rather than glaze. Do you know?
It was over a glaze piece. I don't know what temperature they used, but there was this little clip that was floating around on Instagram.
Huh, no, I'm not familiar with that one. Sounds nice.
It was beautiful.
We will experiment. Matilde, when we're back face to face, we can do it all. We can try all these things.
You should have a class for, for all the special techniques that they're out there.
Yeah, it would be fun to experiment with those. Yeah, It might be worth trying to see if we could fill a Raku class with just a Raku class. We've been offering Raku and ceramic sculpture, as you know, simultaneously, and that has its advantages, which at least it fills enough that we can offer it. But the disadvantage is that it's a little chaotic, and you don't go as deep in each of those subjects. I don't really miss that class so much.
Mark,
This class very much.
Mark, you should name it the makeup class for 2020.
The makeup class for 2020. That's right. That's right. Well, I have tried negotiating a creative way of thinking about lower enrollment so we could offer some of these classes due to the 2020 situation, that we could offer certain classes in lower enrollments. And I've been met with a very deep, considerate silence. I'm sure my ideas have been considered, but they haven't led to any real discussion. So. Let's take a look. Can you see? Yeah, you can see it.
We're almost starting to light.
Yeah, we're starting to see light from the flames. Some of the pieces are starting to get a little bit of a glow.
How cold it is, it's going to take, I think, a little bit. Just because the kiln is so cold, probably.
Yeah, it's not. It doesn't really make too much of a difference given, you know, like 10-degree difference. But just a few technical things. I'm grabbing. This is called kale wool that we're using as our plug. And a lot to know about it. One is you don't want to stir it up. It's not good to breathe the fibers that come off of this. But also up here, that's probably 1,000 degrees. But it's such a good insulator that I can't feel it down here. So, what else can we talk about? So Raku Kiln Design, we could talk a little bit about that. Oh, that is my phone saying it's time, but it isn't time.
We're on cone time now.
What's that?
We're on the cone's time.
Right, it's now time. It's nice to have a reminder. Hey Siri, set a timer for 2:10.
Your alarm is set for 14:10.
So for me, I have to have there's two things I'll do. I'll either set up and have a student be the timer, or in this case, I'll set my phone as the timer because I'm easily distracted. And so if I don't set something up to remind me, I could easily, well, you've seen it happen before. You know, that cake that gets overbaked or something like that. So this is progressing fine. So just a word about kiln design. This is a really simple kind of design. The bottom is just a rather crudely made welded circle that I made on wheels. And then the crude part is I could have been a lot better with setting up the mold walls. And I cast a rather irregular circle on the inside, but it's cast with a thing called refractcrete or castable. And it's basically a castable brick. So that's what makes the bottom of the kiln. And then it just has two entry points. It has around the circle. So there's a circle here. Let's see if I can get this. So if this represents the kiln, the circle of the kiln, I have, I don't know how far I can go with this. I have basically a section coming in this way for one of the torches. Let's see if I got that right. So it comes in at an angle here so that the flame moves around, and then on the other side, the second burner comes in this way and moves around this way. And so that's the full design of the bottom. then the top is just a welded structure to start with. And then I took some weld wire fencing and just made several circles of it. And weld wire fencing is very flexible and kind of floppy, but when you make 2 or 3 turns of it, it gets very stiff and strong and structural. And then the kale wool, which is this wonderful insulating material, is tied to the inside. This is a very large raku kiln for the kind of raku that we're doing. A lot of people have raku kilns for sale that are quite a bit smaller, maybe about 20 gallons. This is almost a 50-gallon raku. If you were, I don't know if you really do it by gallons, but I'm thinking about the trash cans, large trash can, right? So, and it was created because I knew that a lot of us would want to be doing, and myself, and also some sculptural pieces that were larger. So that's why we made this larger kiln. So we can see if we can get the camera in a little bit here. Let's see. So I'm gonna take you on a little ride here. Woo! That's kind of fun. Let's see. Let's go over. How close can we get? That's probably as close as we should be.
Probably as close as you want to get.
So you can see the color. If I go much closer, then I melt the camera. But you can see the color. Now what you're seeing is the color of the flame. You'll notice a difference when I actually go to, when we actually get a little hotter and the cones start to drop, you'll see a much redder kind of radiance coming out, almost an orange going towards white. And then if we look at the top here, you can see that flame is coming out of the top, which means that the kiln is in reductions. It's a pretty heavy reduction there. But you can see flame isn't coming out of the bottom, which means that the reduction is more towards the top half of the kiln. There we go. So, and then what you'll see be kind of exciting in a few, let's see. I guess we're still at least 10 minutes out, but when then it'll get really exciting. We'll start taking out the bowls and putting them on the beds here, and just there'll be lots of flame. So are there any questions, comments, thoughts, philosophical insights? I see. Tilda, is that a gee whiz kind of little circle there? That's a.
I'm just having fun with the icons.
Yeah, good. All right. Nice to know you're there. All right.
So Mark, what's the highest temperature that we like the raku to get to, kind of?
What we're going to get to is about 1900 degrees.
1900.
That's about where we'll be with 04. And so I'm thinking about the parts of this that you don't have. One of the things you don't have is the exact recipe. So I will post that in our class. In the tea bowl section, I'll have a page for that. Also, this delightful experience is being recorded, so I will try and post that never-ending recording also in there, and we'll see how it takes to that. I don't know if it'll take a recording of that length, but we'll see. And it'll be the same with when we do the pit firing, which we'll do. For the pit firing, I'm going to load it into the back of the dancing fire wood kiln. So we'll have the actual pit firing will go on in the dancing fire wood kiln, and we'll live stream that. And I will put I'll put into our course all my instructions on how to do an actual pit firing in the ground or in other kinds of formats. I'll put that information out there for that one as well.
So you mean, what are we using for that pit fire? What's the fuel?
Wood. So we're
Okay.
going to have sawdust on the bottom with some rock salt, and then we'll have wood,
Okay, so
and then the pieces will be decorated with a bath of salt and iron and some spray copper paint and some steel wool, if I can.
and are you doing the surface?
Yeah.
Okay. Because I'm just wondering if we need more sawdust.
Yeah, that's a brand new bag right there, and that's enough. You know, I'll see how much that's enough, but I can stop by the feed store and get another
Okay.
bag if you need it. But that, you know, it's so compressed that would, you know, cover the floor of the kiln by about that much. But it's not bad to have another one.
The mice get into it, so
Oh, do they?
if we can avoid storing it so we need it, you know.
And the big thing, did they get, I don't think they got to that one.
Not that one, the one on top of it. The Raku class went through that one, but when there was like a,
Oh, I see. There's a little mice family in there? All right. This is going to be a really informative
you
recording.
can edit it.
No, I can't. I just don't have that kind of time. You know, a friend of mine, I was talking to my artist friend who gave me the tea on the way here driving in, and he asked me, you know, so you're doing this recording, is it going to be really, you know, is it professional? How are you? And I just said, no, it's just real. It's very real. Okay. It is now 2:10. So we're definitely starting to see some of the bowls are glowing, and you can really learn a lot through observation, especially in Raku. Raku is such literally a hands-on process. And so one of the things I can see as I look is that the bowls on the outside circle are glowing redder than the ones in the middle. The ones in the middle are darker because it's cooler in the middle. The flame is moving around the outside. You can look at the top here and you'll see a flame kind of come out there. And the bowls on top are really glowing. They're really bright. They're much brighter color. So it's not an even firing, but by going to cone 4, we'll make sure that all the bowls get as hot as they need to get. But you can start to get a sense for your kiln. You can make those observations. Oh, the bowls on top are glowing more. The ones on the bottom are glowing less. The ones inside are glowing less than the ones on the outside. So as you get to know your glazes, you might say, oh, this glaze needs to get hotter. I'm going to put it on top. This glaze needs to stay cooler. I'm going to put it in the middle. And you can start to load your kiln the way you understand it to be working. So that's one thing. The other thing that you can do with some glazes, not these so much, this glaze will start to melt and you'll be able to see that. But with a very common Raku glaze, which I think we have one piece we're doing with this, there's a Raku glaze called White Crackle. there's a Raku glaze called White Crackle, and that glaze it gets very glossy. And so you can actually, if you put that near an observation hole, you can watch it go through the various transformations that glaze goes through as it heats up. So as it starts to melt, it starts to bubble and foam, which is one of the reasons you don't want things to get too close to each other. It will actually foam up and bubble, and then it will start to melt and even melt more, and you'll see it, all the bubbles go away and they'll be popped, and you'll see these little circles on the surface, and everything's looking very liquid and glassy, and then the circles go away and you're just looking at liquid glass, and that's when you know you're ready. So you can actually, a lot of people talk about Raku as something where you're supposed to use your eye to observe, and you make all your decisions by eye, and this is actually a something that I personally take a different philosophy to, and it's actually got into a little bit of a dialogue. There's an author of a great couple of books called, he wrote Mastering Raku, and he wrote another book on Raku. His name is Steve Bronfman. He's a great artist and a great writer, and he wrote the definitive books on Raku. And when his first book came out, he had a section where he said, well, real Raku artists don't use cones. He actually said that. It's kind of a machismo sort of thing. In his book, it said, real Raku artists don't use cones. And I wrote him a note saying, you know, I'm using another text for my Raku classes. I really want to use your text because it's so good, but that one area just bothers me so much that you say real Raku artists don't use cones, because I use cones, and I'll tell you why. I have glazes that are different at cone 08 and cone 06 and cone 04, and I formulate them to respond to different temperatures. And I can tell when a glaze is melted, but I cannot tell the difference between cone 06 and 04. And so my feeling is that that using cones, if you have them, why not use them if it can get you a better result? And so I wrote him this whole long note, and he wrote me a note back saying, hey, send me those glazes, explain how you use them. And so his next edition of the book came out, and it said, real Raku artists don't use cones. But Mark Lancet feels that cones can help him. And here's how he uses them, and here are the glazes he uses with those cones. So he put my glazes in his book, he talked about my philosophy, but he kept in the real Raku artists don't use cones. So I think what that means is I'm doing some nice things with glazes, but I'm not a real Raku artist. I'm not quite sure. Anyway, we had some fun with that, and I started using his book because he had qualified that statement a bit. But there is a general feeling about the use of cones, and this idea, even in wood firing, this idea that the master will go ahead and the master will not need to see cones, and will just look in the kiln and know what to do when. And that idea is, I think, more, yeah, you can develop those abilities, but I think it's also great to use the tools that are on hand. So that's what we do. And I can't tell you how many times these famous Japanese artists that were master wood kiln people were talked of as, you know, they just come out and they use their eyes and they look in. But if you go to the back of their studio, you find electric kilns and cones and all kinds of things. So, you know, we all use these tools. How's it looking?
It's we've got some back pressure on top. Probably.
Yeah. Okay. Getting closer, but clearly cone 06 is still standing straight up, and we're going for 04, so we got some time yet. And so, would you get a pair of tongs too, and we can just both forward? Very exciting. So when this starts to happen, it'll all happen rather quickly. We will, oh, let's see. Oh, Donna's in our waiting room here. Let's get Donna. Let's see. Hi, Donna.
Mark, do you want to use these ones, or I have two pairs of these new ones?
Oh, really? I didn't know about those. Yeah, those would be nice. You got another pair of those?
I don't think these are top-heavy, but I don't think we've even used these yet.
Right.
Because I bought them in March.
Right. Right. First I've seen them. Were you teaching? Oh, Robin was teaching you.
Robin was teaching, yeah.
So these are commercially available raku tongs. They're very light, very short, easy, perfect for this kind of firing, perfect for tea bowls because they're so small, and we can grasp them easily. And not so good for very large sculptural pieces, but great for this application. So what we'll do is
We'll lift it, and then we'll be on either side, and
we'll just put them one at a time, just get them on there as quickly as possible, but efficiently, but not really
safely.
safely, like that. All right, Donna, you with us now?
Yes, hi, I'm here.
Hi, Donna. So just to sum up, our first firing is almost ready.
That's great.
And almost ready. And then at some point, we're going to share a little tea. There's a little tea set up there.
Okay.
And we have about 20 bowls in this firing. And we are going to, let me get that set up right. We have 20 bowls in this firing. That means that we have 3 firings to do today.
Wow.
And,
thank you.
And if you brought us a bowl, we glazed it, and it's in this firing. So
all right.
One bowl, it's in here. If you brought us 5 bowls, they're in here. That's our plan.
Thank you.
All right. Yeah, no, it's really reducing. And but I think it's okay. I think
No, I think it's good. I'm just surprised. Although I don't remember.
this is, you can back off the flame if you want to. Obviously. But,
I think it'll be good for these ones.
exactly. We want those to 100%. Because it's going to oxidize quite a bit once it's out of the kiln. Okay, any questions, comments, thoughts? Things that you're celebrating?
Remember, next week is Thanksgiving. We don't have school Thursday and Friday.
Right. We don't have, oh, that's a good point. We don't have school because you guys are asynchronous. So you never have school or always have school, whichever way you want to think of it. I have noticed that I'm working on these, I'm working online building stuff and grading things pretty much 5 days a week, about 6 to 8 hours a day. So this is a lot more work than I usually would. Not a lot, but I'm doing a lot more of this. It's different, very different. But there's nothing required for next Wednesday, Thursday, or Friday due to Thanksgiving. I don't think I have anything due, do I? I think I've missed that. Okay, we're starting to see a little movement on 06, which means that instead of being straight up, it's just barely curved. But it's something when you're looking at it, it's really distinctive that you can see. You see that slight curve, and you know you're getting close because now it's just minutes before it'll fall and 4 will be not too, 04 will be not too far away from that.
So Mark, the next firing will be faster, right?
What's that?
The next firing will be
Next firing will be much faster. Well, not much, but it'll be maybe 45 minutes.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, yeah. Spam rice slightly. It's just your most important contact, right?
Yes, yeah. In fact, if I had another child, that's what I'd name them. I'm going to get a little closer here so you can see.
Without melting you.
I'm going to try not to melt the camera, but you know, sometimes. Let me get this camera out of here. I'm going to bring that in a little closer. How's that look?
Yellow.
It's just a big yellow spot. Okay,
Yeah.
bring it in a little closer. I'm going to get that camera as close as I can. Let's see. There we go. Can you guys see that? There's the cone.
There. That's good.
And that's cone 06. Not quite half mast. No movement on 04 yet. And I have to move back because we'll start to see movement on the camera. Okay, let's bring that back into place.
It got foggy.
It got foggy?
It got foggy.
Oh,
and
okay.
then it's like glasses going from inside outside in winter.
Right.
It got all warm.
In
and then
winter,
it got condensation.
when you say in winter, you're really referring to another part of the country. Aren't
Yes.
you? This is winter.
I'm in the winter that I'm gonna go to.
Right. You're actually going to do that on purpose.
Yeah.
Okay. So again, our safety we're wearing clothes that are completely natural fibers, cotton in this case. I don't think Kat has any silk, but you could use silk. Wool is okay.
Natural.
Cotton, all natural. And you have to be careful about that. I had one student once who had a jean jacket that was perfectly great cotton, but the inside lining of her jacket was some polyester that caught on fire. That wasn't good. So, and then this face shield here, in addition to being extremely attractive, especially with a mask, it just gets better and better. But its main function is to deflect heat, because when this thing is 1800 degrees, 1900 degrees, it's just super hot, and this makes it so much more comfortable to have all that heat off your face. I'm sure this is another case where real raku artists would never do this. Right. They're one of the early raku people, probably the second person to do it in the United States, was a guy named Paul Soldner. And Paul Soldner only wore a Speedo. You just do it naked, almost, just a Speedo.
Oh, and hair tied back.
Yes, very important. Okay, cone 06 is completely down and 04 is still standing. So to start with, I'll go lift it up, and then you can work on this side. And the minute you can safely get in there, you can start immediately.
Okay.
Do I use an 04 or a 4? No, I know. It's
Okay. Yeah, that's also the worst. Pick from there.
yeah, okay. Fours aren't orange either.
Sorry, what?
Fours are not red.
No, they're not.
Okay. Okay, we're probably a few minutes away. Some more. The 04 was a good decision for this glaze. So this glaze that we're using, I want to catch it between completely melted and a little bit matte. So I'm trying to get it in between where some parts of it will be very glossy and other parts will be kind of a matte surface. So that's ideal if we can get that.
This is like when I'm waiting for these like that black.
This is like waiting for the president to acknowledge that he's lost the. No, that's not it. That's not what I want. I couldn't help myself, could I?
Hey, Mark, this
yes.
is Robin.
Hi, Robin.
Could you let me in on another device so I can carry you around outside through my workstation?
Sure. Oh, I see you're on there too. Yeah, I'm sorry, I didn't notice that.
That's okay.
There you go. There you go. It's about to happen here. Good. Where the action is going to happen. Pretty exciting. Have your phones ready to dial 911. Only kidding. I hope. God.
I hope not.
Yeah, what's
That's
the?
not what I signed up for.
Yeah, it's not what I signed. It's like it's not really your dream to end up on like America's Worst Home Videos or something. That's not what we're about.
Okay, so you're going to turn off the gas.
I'll turn off the gas and I'll look. Yeah. So maybe a slight curve on 04, but that's a thing that happens when you're watching. It's like waiting for a pot to boil or a phone to ring, or you kind of, oh, I think I see it curving. I think that's a curve. That's less of a straight line than it was before.
This is why we're having to pick them up tomorrow. There's no
No, Zeppelin.
Oh, right. Right. Well, plus there you need some cooling time as well. Right. What was that, Muna?
Nothing. Sorry.
Oh, I'm sorry. That was Donna that said that.
It was me, but I was talking to my dog. I'm trying to turn my volume off. Sorry.
That's no problem. You know, that's a, you know, as I was driving here this morning, I was talking to a friend of mine who lives in Occidental, and I was telling him what we were going to do, and he said, "Oh, do you have like a crew? Is it, is it really done professionally? And how are you going to be doing this? Is it scripted?" And I said, "No, it's just real. We just do whatever happens because." When I first started with you guys and I started doing office hours and things, if the dog barked, I freaked out. Or if my daughter came in with an urgent message about the latest thing that Taylor Swift had done, I just went, "Oh no, we can't have this." But then I realized, no, that's exactly what we've got. We've got our lives, and it's actually adds a certain seasoning to the whole process if you get to see a little bit of a dog or a daughter or something. Yeah, it's just who we are. Okay, let's see. That straight line is even less straight. Maybe a little bit.
It looks hot.
It's definitely hot.
Oh,
That's gravity. Maybe a little push, a little pressure from the flame.
yeah. Back pressure. How does the top look?
What's that?
How does the top look?
They're looking good. The one on the far distance, I can see a little bit of gloss in it. The ones closer up that are in the cooler area, they're not nearly as glossy.
Yeah.
Can you see that gloss glistening on the back there? Last chance for questions before things get exciting. Even more exciting, I should say. Definitely a slight curve. We're probably 3 to 5 minutes from pulling the bowls now. It's a definite slight curve on 04. So basically with a contemporary raku kiln, the ideal situation is to have a way to get to your pots fairly quickly. Our situation is somewhat, it's good in that we can clear all the pots by lifting, we lift the pots up on this hoist, not the pots, we lift the kiln up to access the pots. So that's a fairly good design. The hoist is rather slow. I'd like a little faster situation if possible. There's a design when you have a lot of space, there's a design where you have actually 2 kiln beds and 2 kilns with a post in between. And you can be firing one, actually one is a bed for firing, one is a bed for reducing. So you can just tip the kiln up, move it off, and then move the pieces to a reduction floor and put the kiln on top of them and reduce it that way. So there's a lot of different designs you can see. I think all those designs were created at times like this when people are just waiting and waiting and waiting and watching, and then they go, oh, I know what we could do next time. You can see that the reduction, as the temperature rises, the reduction has increased. The oxygen is being burned very rapidly. next.
What? Do you want it flat or?
Just half.
Okay.
Moments away.
You're good?
Okay, here we go. Ready?
Oh, it's hot.
What's that?
Hot.
It is hot. Definitely hot. Little dragon, away you go. One thing that helps is to stay low.
Lost you, Mark.
It looks really good. We'll go. There are your tea bowls in progress.
Thank you. Nicely done.
So again, the thinking is that the bottoms of the bowls are getting reduced heavily. The tops are getting more oxidized, but I'm seeing a beautiful black, quite a bit of gloss. I see one bowl, but for some reason the glaze didn't stick to it. So we're just going to reduce the inside of the bowl a little bit. When I see something like that, you can start asking yourself a few questions like why that one bowl? We've got 20 bowls. They all went through exactly the same situation, more so than usual, in that they were all bisked by the same person. They were all glazed by the same person. They were all in the same firing, but one bowl has lost some glaze. It kind of popped off. And so one possibility is that bowl was made from a different clay than the others. Somebody may have used something that I don't know about. Just one possibility. But they're looking wonderful. They have a beautiful gloss to them. I'm seeing a little bit of matte, so it's kind of the ideal situation. See if I can reduce that some more.
How is Kat? Is she okay?
Oh, I'm good.
Okay. You
Yeah.
said it was hot. I remember how miserable that is. So
Yeah,
just
Yeah.
and it gets really hot there. You're being bathed by 1,000 degrees, or in this case, 2,000 degrees almost. And I don't know if you can hear that. I'm going to bring the microphone closer. Can you hear the tinkling?
yes.
That is the glaze. The glaze is ringing like a phone. No, that's not it. Let's see. All right, 250. So, you did say 250. But I don't think I'll take credit for that. Okay, so now, what I would say we do is we start to load.
So you want to get the top a little higher.
Yeah, we'll take the top a little higher. So now we're going to begin to load the next load. And again, the importance here is we can't put a bowl directly on the shelf. The shelves are at least 1,000 degrees now. And if we were to put a bowl right on top of there, of course, we would end up cracking it. And so we have clay discs and shelf fragments, and we'll use those all across it to load our pieces. So let's get a metal. Where's the metal part? Back here.
I wish we could help, don't you guys?
I think with each bowl, it's hard to predict each bowl.
I wish.
Well, what we're going to do now is we're going to go over to the gas kiln where we're preheating the bowls, and we'll take them onto a metal cart, and then we'll start loading. It's hot work, but you're worth it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You can watch us reload. Something we'll need for next semester is more of these discs.
Two-thirds.
Okay, I'm gonna start down below. 'Cause that's kind of messy. You can start- the biggest one first.
Those discs must be new. I don't remember those.
They're here.
What's that?
Oh, like a cookie.
No, I think we're all in there. So once you get to the I think that's a steamer right now.
You see the light?
For the white,
That's the other part?
it could be, there might be borax in it. Yeah, it's one of the fluxes. It could be firstly borate.
Or this.
Okay, yeah, we can move that to. We have a couple more. Yeah, yeah.
They're not water.
That's all right. Yeah. So get kind of a view in to my desk. There we go.
So Mark's not taking any chances, only 2 shelves.
What's the question? Is there a question?
No, I said you're not taking any chances, only 2 shelves.
Right, exactly. None of this crazy 3-shelf thing. That was more performance art than. So we're putting in the new cones.
Things things were loaded. I think we'll just do these two at top shelf.
Yeah, that's everything there. So that'll be how many when you count it like that? How many do you have? Yeah, so that's fantastic. I think we have a good.
Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna get these.
So please forgive me for telling you what you probably already know, but just to give you an idea here, these are the cones getting ready for the next firing, and we have an 06 and an 04, and you always want to put the cone that's going to melt first in front, so it doesn't melt onto the one in front of it. So you want to think of that, and the way they work is that there's a little number on them that you want facing forward towards you, and this is a commercial cone. Still, we don't always use these. A lot of times you just take a soft brick and carve little holes in them. But this looks fine since we have it. So now we're going to light the kiln. And we want to make this transition as quickly as possible just because we want to make it as quickly as possible because the longer we wait, the longer we're going to have to wait to fire because it'll take longer to heat it up. And just in case you're wondering how hot it is, that was a pretty close to natural shape face shield to start with, and it got a little bent out of shape. So this is where the expression bent out of shape comes from. Here you go. Okay, you ready? Okay.
Oh, yeah. It's going down straight, right?
A little more towards you.
Okay, we got a perfect heat on it.
You got a what?
Perfect home view.
Excellent. Okay, so we've improved on our view of the cones. I made them a little taller so they're easier to see this time. We've got it on low, so I want to again set a timer so I don't just forget about time and such. So I say, hey Siri, set timer for 3:20. She's ignoring me. Hey Siri, set timer for 3:19.
I've set your timer alarm for 15:19.
Okay, so we have that going on. So we have, as you can see, we're ready for a new cycle here. You can take a look now and see the bowls are cooling down nicely. And let's see if you can see that. Yeah, so they're cooling down nicely. And now I have an interesting situation because this is going to be ready in 45 minutes and I need to have access to these beds. So what I will do is I will take these bowls and put them on some wood. I'll just set them on wood where they'll continue to kind of cool down, but also kind of burn the wood a little bit and add more kind of smoke to the bottom of the pieces. And they're looking beautiful. Let me just take one and show you. This one looks really interesting.
What?
So let's look first at this one here. And I'm seeing some really exciting things as I look at these. So if you look at this, you can see that it is, there's a little bit of a crawl going on with the glaze and it's got a mat to it. All of that I think adds interest. If you look at the outside of the piece, it's that crawl just shows up in one spot. And then there's some smooth and some glossy right at that detail. This is a gorgeous piece. It really, in terms of the glaze, it could not have performed better. I want variety. I want it to go from matte to gloss to and having some texture. It's a really lovely result. Let's look at a few more. This is a lovely faceted piece, and we'll see a couple of things here. One is that you'll notice there is a, I'm sorry, you are not seeing it here. Let me put it where you can see it. So you can see there's definitely a temperature difference. The inside is a little cooler, a little matter, which brings some interest to it. You can see the lips get hotter, so the lips are more glossy. And you can see the effect of this being probably hit a little bit by flame. So one lip is more melted than another. Again, that kind of asymmetrical surface is highly, highly desirable. This piece was cracked in the greenware. It had a little crack in the bottom, and you can still see that crack there. I do not know if water will seep through that or not, but if not, it'll work as is. If water does seep through there, then it's an easy patch to make to still make this a functional bowl. And then on the outside, you can see really a lot of wonderful matte to gloss. This is really a perfect glaze result. I'm very happy with the result.
They look great.
Again, this glaze is years in developing.
What glaze is it?
It's called Lancet's Raku Black.
Okay.
Take full credit. But this is a case where I will give you the recipe. I'll put it up on in the class, and I'll send out an announcement. You'll see an announcement saying that it's in there when I put it in there. This is, and I should also say that the way that I mixed this glaze for this particular event was I sent Kat the recipe and said, make a bunch of this. And she did. And I can't tell you how grateful I am to have Kat on our team here. That's how you make this glaze, to send it to Kat. Again, a great example. This one, it has more matte to it, and this is a very heavy bowl. And I wonder if that is due to, if that heaviness allows it to have a lovely matte surface. Again, glossy towards the lip, and you can see it actually spreading almost like the Milky Way, these little star spots of gloss. So really lovely pieces. I'm very happy. So we're going to move them all onto wood now. Sure. So one of the things I'm learning is something that Donna referenced in the Raku classes. I would start by making everybody tea bowls over the break. I would make the tea bowls, and then we would glaze them on the first day of class and fire them. But to get them done efficiently, I would put 3 levels of shells in the kiln. And that's the Raku equivalent of the lazy man's load. And I would always, this happened 2 semesters in a row before I learned to stop doing it. I would catch one of the shells when I was lifting up the kiln, and everything would come tumbling down. That's not good. So we're benefiting from that experience. There's no way that I can use. This is what it's. Okay, so now I think that's an alarm again. No, that was I've missed 3 phone calls from this person, I think. No, different people. Okay, I'll check that out. Okay, so what we're doing now, I'll give you a tour here. We've taken these bowls here, and you can see them sitting on pieces of wood. So they'll still smolder on the bottom a little bit, and they're still cooling down, but they're quite a bit cooler. They've cooled quite a bit. Quite a bit cooler, I mean. And then over here, we'll come back. There is the reduction beds. We have to get those ready for the next round. Well, how do you do that? If I throw sawdust on there, it's just going to catch on fire. So what I do is I'll spray it down with some water. That'll make everything kind of damp. And then I'll put sawdust on top of that, and it won't catch because I've dampened it underneath. And that moisture will actually help kind of maintain slow the burn down when I put the new pieces on, and help it maintain reduction for longer. So it's kind of a nice thing all the way around. Really want to make it.
think
Yeah, I think that's it.
I think if there's not a timer.
Yeah, I think we can. Okay, let me take it to you. Hey Siri, set a timer for 3:30. So the kiln is dark. We moved it to medium, and at 3:30 we'll move it to high, and then I expect to get to temperature a lot faster than the last time because everything is all heated up in there. So that's where we're going now. Okay, so if anybody has any questions or comments, suggestions, observations for a greater America, you just let me know now.
Well, you did a great job. Thank you so much.
Well,
Looks
thanks,
good. Yeah, appreciate it. I have a question. I see you changed the time tomorrow for drop off, right?
Right, the drop off tomorrow is from 1 to 3. There's a number of different aspects of timing for different schedules. If you have difficulty with that time, I asked you to let me know.
Oh, I didn't know that part. Do you think you'd be there till 3:30?
Definitely. I'll probably be
Okay, that's great. I'm sharing my car with my son-in-law. He doesn't have a
sure.
car.
I'll even be here at 4, I know. So if you need to come a little
Okay.
early, that's fine. And before you got here, we learned that if you can't make it, if for some reason you've got a piece that you're still working on, it's still wet, there will be a final pick, or there'll be from 1 to 5 on December 2nd, and I'll make a note of this. You can bring in pieces to be bisque. There'll be one more bisque available, thanks to
For the jugs, for the face jugs.
that'll work for the face jugs, right? There'll be a second firing.
Wow.
So there'll be one firing that'll start on the 2nd, and then there'll be another firing a little bit later on, electric 06 or cone 6 firing for face jugs. So
Well, thank you. That's certainly an invitation to make another one, isn't it?
that's one way to interpret it.
I mean, I don't know what people made, if everyone made big, tall ones. Did you guys make big, tall ones?
Yeah, I did, Donna.
I know Muna did and Robin did. I'm suspecting that Tilde got some scale on hers.
I didn't see theirs.
I made one big tall one, but I haven't measured to see how tall it is.
Okay. I can't wait to see them. It'll be fun to take kind of like a graduation photo, just a group photo of all the faces on these jugs. It'll be fun. I guess that's what COVID fun is now, taking photos of inanimate objects.
I'd like
So-
to, this
go
is
ahead.
Robin.
Yeah.
I'd like to see everybody's pieces after they've been fired, not just the face jugs, anything that we can see what they look like once they're all done.
Right. Okay, that's a good suggestion. I'm just going through them. We will, I can post I can post things after the pit firing. That'll be on I think we'll do the pit firing's on the 8th. We'll have them out by the 11th, I think, and I can photograph them and post them. The Raku Tea Bowls, I can take some pictures of those. I guess that'd be no problem to do that. And then, or people can post their own, but I think it'd be more reliable if I take some pictures and post them. So I can do that. I'm trying to think of what other, so the Mimbres, it went from flat to shiny, but they really haven't changed from what people posted on those. And then the face jugs, it'd be interesting to see them. I think we'll do some nice photos of those when they come out.
Can I ask what the preferred clay was for the large ones that everybody likes?
I use Don 20. I always do for the big pieces mostly.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I find Don 20 a kind of very forgiving clay. So for bigger pieces. So I did mine out of Don 20 as well.
Okay, they don't have that at Clay People though. Is that Mike has that?
East Bay Clay makes it, right?
Oh, okay.
I bought it from the college.
Oh, yes. Okay.
And the college has it for sale, right, at the bookstore. We're going to have a new manager, Thomas, who has served us for 20 years, is moving on. He's retiring, so changes at the bookstore. I guess I can take a moment to tell you about what's happening next semester in terms of classes. This class is going to be taught again. There are some people in this class that had to drop out, so maybe they can try and take it a little later on. The 3D design class is being taught again. And then I'm offering a sculpture class, which will focus on one ceramics assignment, an assemblage assignment, something called language of materials, and a mask assignment. I think those are the four. I don't know if there'll be 4 or 5 assignments, but it'll be a chance to really focus and work diligently on a sculptural project. And then there's that class is offered, I don't know exactly how this works with online instruction, but at the same time, there'll be an intermediate class where if people had sculpture before, they can take the intermediate class, do those assignments, but do them with more experience and not having looked at it for the first time. So those are some sculpture courses. And then the course that I'm teaching for people who are ready to make their own series of work, working on their own professional development as artists, that course is continuing. People can jump in at this stage and start it fresh if they haven't taken the first semester, but we're building a body of work. Everybody in the class is making their own art and building a body of artwork, and then we'll be documenting it and building a web page for each of the students. So that's that one. That's called Portfolio Development Documentation. I came up with that title myself. Anyway, those are the classes that are being offered. I'm hoping they will all go, but we should at least see 3 of them go. Tell all your friends. That's happening. Any questions, comments, suggestions, deep personal experiences that you've never told anybody, but you'd like to have recorded on Zoom and saved on YouTube for posterity? You can share those with us now.
This is a question. This is Robin. There's a question about your sculpture class.
Yes.
This is not a profound question, but
Yeah.
I noticed you have some metal working on there. At least that was in the description.
Yeah, those are pre-COVID course descriptions. When I teach it face-to-face, I teach everybody how to weld.
I'd love to learn how to weld, but I don't think I can do it at home.
No, I will teach you that a later date. Sort of the good news about that is if you decide you want to take that sculpture class later on, if you take it this time and then you want to repeat it, you can. There's a what is it called? You submit a request. There's a word for it, but there's a form you fill out, and basically you can make a case that, boy, during COVID, we couldn't learn welding, and that's really pivotal. So I want to learn welding for sculpture, and so that would give you a chance to take the course again if you wished. But for this time, I know we're going to do one clay sculpture with a maquette process, and then making a coil, probably a coil abstract clay piece. Then we're going to do, we'll be doing an assemblage piece. We're going to be doing something called language of materials and something called, really good with titles sometimes, taking the trivial path to voluminous wonder. And I'll explain that further in the class. But so some good mixed media assignments and things like that for sculpture. So that's happening, and we'll see if it goes. It'll be great. I'm basically that's what I'm doing from now until the classes start. It takes hundreds of hours to build one of these classes online. So I have to start building all these things. So I'll be doing that. Good questions. Any other questions? Anybody want to talk about what they're streaming on Netflix, or you're all out? Have
No,
you? What's
Netflix is all Christmas movies now.
all the Christmas movies? I don't know if I can go there, but I might. Who knows?
Oh, yeah, I've been watching some.
Kat's saying she's completely out of things to stream, so we got to get her some suggestions.
We like Queen's Gambit.
Queen's Gambit. That's a. Oh, she's watched it.
Oh.
That's a. I've seen the reviews. Good. Good to know that's good. Good. I've kind of fallen down a rabbit hole with a thing called Mr. Robot.
We watched that.
Yeah, it's. No, it's a kind of futuristic dystopia about a bunch of hackers. And the main star is Remy. What's his last name? He's the guy who won the Academy Award for playing
Rami.
What's that?
He played Rami, right?
He played Fred, the guy from Queen.
Oh yeah, Rami Malek.
Rami,
Right.
That's the central actor, and it's just watching him. He's such an interesting guy, and he does so many things. It's a pretty dark dystopic one, but I've watched a little bit of that.
Yeah, there's one called Rami, but I think it's on Roku, not Netflix.
Rami?
Yeah.
What's that one about?
It's about like a Muslim guy that, like Egyptian, from an Egyptian family. It's interesting for us. It was funny.
Good. Yeah, so look into Egyptian culture, and is it subtitled?
Yeah. No, it's in English though. Yeah,
it's in English.
And subtitled too. It's in
You
English.
probably don't have to read subtitles.
Oh no, but it's in English though. It's not. It's not in Arabic.
Good. Good. Anybody else?
I've watched a lot of Netflix. I think I'm a good judge. So I like all the prison movies, like Orange is the New Black, and then I like Wentworth was good, and Locked Up is good, and then I like when people are like on a boat and they're like lost at sea. Those are good.
Right.
And also some Spanish ones. There's like Undercover. They're like series. Those are good too.
Cool. This is okay. Kat says watching The Crown has been rewarding.
Oh, Kat should watch Lucifer. Did she watch Lucifer?
Wait a minute. You went from the Queen of England to the devil?
Yeah, it's interesting.
Yeah. What's that? Podcasts are great. Yeah. Anybody got podcasts to recommend?
Yeah, my daughter downloaded one for me. I forgot the name of it. I had not started yet, so it's about, I think, sculpture.
About sculpture. Okay.
Yeah. Let me.
Okay, so let's see where we're at here. Oh, we won't be anywhere. Let's see. 2 minutes, we'll bring it on to full. So this is the way things go for the next 2 firings. We'll be right here, and then I'll be here tomorrow for your drop off from 1 to 3. And I think I'll be staying at least until 5. But you want to get them in sooner rather than later, because Kat is going to take them and load them right into a bisque firing. So the sooner we get them to Kat, the sooner she can get a firing going. And the longer they get to candle and go slow.
Well, we can bring it tomorrow or then on the 6th, right? Those are our choices.
Okay, good guess. Tomorrow or the 2nd. If you bring
The
them on the
2nd,
6th,
okay.
they won't do anything for you.
Okay, yeah, it was just a guess. You're right.
Okay. Right. Kat is going to remind me because she knows me. Actually, doesn't do that.
Maybe I'll make a big one. I made 3 little ones, so I don't know. You know, I made 2 small ones. Yeah, they're not that big.
Okay, let me see. So what do I need to do? Post. Okay, there's the alarm. Cool. Okay, we're moving it on to full. Let's see, what were some of the suggestions? Oh, no, for announcements that I need to, December 2nd. And you'll be there from 1 to 5. I'll just put it down that way. Okay, that's an announcement. About what? Oh, yeah, they know about drop-off. Food glaze. You know what I'm thinking is I should end the recording of this now in terms of what I'm going to post because we don't need to see. So I'm going to do that.